I've made many friends on this show, people that watch what I do and enjoy it. One of them is my friend Bob. And I don't know why he subjects himself to this, but he brings guitars down to me and says, Benny, shoot videos. He waited 40 years for this, and here it is. For those that don't know, we first met Bob over this guitar. This is a Gibson Ultima, not to be confused with the Nissan Ultima. And Bob let me borrow this absolutely beautiful, stunning instrument. And it's the only time that I've ragged on Gibson in my entire life because it played wonky and it broke my heart. It's so gorgeous and it's so light. This isn't even 8 pounds, guys. Look at this beautiful guitar, the Les Paul Ultima. Do you see how it moves all around? And then not to mention that you have all this abalone binding. Is this considered a tree of life? I don't know what it is. It's the vine inlay. You got the abalone in the headstock, these imperial tuners. Everything about this guitar is gorgeous. Bob's the guy, he's a pilot. He likes nice things. He wants to come home and say hi, waving back from the humidor. Is this beautiful thing. So if you haven't seen the video, go back and check it out. Then Bob came back and he brought me this made to measure. You can go to Gibson and you can say, I want that wood for the top of my guitar, and pick out a piece of beautiful maple. You can choose what color, you can choose the inlays, all the material. Bob chose a lot of stuff. And then they sent him this guitar, which wasn't what Bob chose. And it was a whole debacle. Another video on my channel you might want to check out, but I have to tell you, I don't want to give it back. This thing's beautiful. Look at this. Do you notice a theme here? The abalone on the headstock, abalone inlays on this ebony fretboard. They say that this is 5A quilt. I know Gibson has all these crazy terms like 7A. This is an unbelievable quilt top. It's not the color that Bob asked for, but beautiful guitar. The guitar that we have here, oh boy. I saw this one go around the interweb. I said, some lucky duck is gonna get that thing. That lucky duck was my friend Bob. If you worked for 40 years at Gibson, you can get a guitar. Oh my Lord, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, the first 40th anniversary Gibson guitar ever made. For Tim Harris. At one point, they came out with the F-Hole Supreme guitar. And if you look, it has this Johnny Smith floating pickup. But because of that, the way that the guitar hits the body is very different than this guitar, because as you can see, it has 2 humbuckers. See what I'm saying, guys? 13A quilt maple top. I'm making that up. You're welcome, Gibson. 13A. I'm calling it a 13A. You got the F-holes. Now, I love these mother of pearl gold UFO knobs. These say, you can't afford me. Tim Harris, 40th anniversary guitar. And this is a 490 and a 498 that you'd find in pretty much a normal Supreme. Got your ebony fingerboard, your million ply binding. This is, without question, the nicest back I've ever seen on any Les Paul. I have the NAMM 125th anniversary. This ass you could stop in the street and drive into a small woman and child. This is an ass you pray to. This thing is wild. This is the best piece of wood I've ever seen on a Gibson. Gibson, I don't believe, does solid flame maple necks like this. This is special. In fact, I know that Mr. Harris, who got this guitar, hid the piece of wood for this neck for 2 years in anticipation of this guitar. 7/28/1975. That was Tim's first day. And then in 2015 was his 40th anniversary, even though this guitar is a 2016. The old school Supreme Globe headstock, which I love and many miss because they don't do it anymore. Holy wow, Batman. And for those that don't know, they shove in all the electronics you see here through this hole because there's no back plate. A lot of people don't believe me, but I actually glued a 40th anniversary Supreme together at Gibson with my friend George Matthews Sr. and my buddy Jim DeCola. When I showed up to the factory, Mark Ignacie's taking us all around. George goes, Benny, come over here. And there was a guitar very similar to this being made. And I, Benny Goodman, the Neurotic Guitarist, glued it together. So for anybody that thinks that they pre-wire this, they don't. They glue this thing together and then they shove all the electronics like they're giving an occipital lobotomy right through that little hole. And if you say that that's a crazy design, that's stupid, you've clearly never worked on an ES335 now, have you? Because it's pretty much the same idea. It doesn't make it easy to change out your EMGs, but c'est la vie. So this is basically a fantasy guitar. This guitar was never available to the public. You can't get an F-hole Supreme just like this. Not unless you worked there for 40 years, or maybe you're Bob. Bob has one. Thanks, Bob. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?